right. Hey, everyone. I'm Jeff Piltch, one of the writers here at Millionacres. Thanks so much for tuning in to a special spotlight feature today. As a real estate tech nerd, I'm pretty pumped about this one. Today, we're checking in with Michael Beckerman, CEO of CREtech, the largest global consulting, media, and conference company devoted to the technological innovation in the real estate sector. CREtech's mission is to help the industry embrace, adopt, and future-proof their businesses to inspire the next generation of ideas, processes, and people to champion the world's largest asset class. Beckerman also leads CREtech's newest initiative, CREtech Climate, which is the voice of the real estate industry's commitment to climate tech. CREtech Climate aims to galvanize the real estate industry to reduce its carbon footprint throughout the entire built world. So, Michael, thanks for joining in today.
Hey, Jeff, thanks so much for having me. What a wonderful intro. I appreciate such complimentary thoughts and words about us. Did you get that from somebody?
Somebody might have filled me in on what you're up to, but it would be nice to kind of hear it from the man himself. Would love to kind of hear about the kind of like aha moment of, what inspired CREtech? Like, how did we get here today?
Great. Thanks so much. And I appreciate all your support. I know you've been following us and the industry for a long time now, and we appreciate your voice and we appreciate your support. So just quick backstory. I've been in commercial real estate my entire life, my entire career, 35 years. And the first 25 was on the media, the marketing, the public relations side. So I've always been steeped in this industry on the commercial side. And when we say commercial, we're talking office buildings, apartments, logistics, warehouses, retail, hospitality.
Yeah. So anything not single family?
Yeah, it's not consumer facing, right? This is all B2B, right? Although some of the technologies that we'll talk about are consumer facing. So about 10 years ago, looking for the next blank canvas for me and just reading a lot and studying technology going, why isn't the real estate industry embracing tech? Financial services is, healthcare is, every other industry on earth except for ours. So I just wanted to go there, and I was attracted to the fact that it was literally day one of the industry. We had some big companies, big legacy companies, Yardi, CoStar, those types, but we didn't have this sort of emerging young tech sector. So I was like, listen, what do I enjoy doing? I enjoy connecting people. I enjoy, broadcasting and, creating awareness. So CREtech was born as a media company focused mostly on conferences, physical, and then COVID obviously pivoting to virtual, and we'll be back in physical this year at some point.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, we can dig in for hours on that stuff, but I would love to kind of focus on CREtech Climate and the new platform that you guys have kind of launched here that seems to have a lot of traction. I would love to kind of hear more about how that specifically started and kind of what we have planned, and maybe just kind of getting the listeners up to speed on what's happening there might be helpful.
Yeah. So if you just put it in context, right? So the real estate tech or prop tech sector, I don't know, $20, $30 billion a year invested in that sector, right? And that is everything. That's data, that's building access, that's, marketplaces, you name it. The sector's hot right now. That we're seeing IPOs, we're seeing SPACs, we're seeing big money being raised and companies really starting to scale 2020, 21. And then, I come to discover the fact that this industry that I love, it's 40% of all carbon emissions globally are coming from the built world.
Wow. That's a big number.
How the hell do I not know that? And I'm in this business of media and information and content. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to do something about that because I believe in science. I believe in climate change is real. And if this industry is culpable in climate change, I got to use this big voice, this big platform to do something. So hence we launched CREtech Climate, literally just a month or so ago, to try and galvanize the real estate industry to invest in climate tech, sustainability, and ESG. So same thing I did on CREtech. How do you connect the technology companies? How do you connect the corporates, the real estate industry? And how do you connect venture? How do you pull them all together to build a global platform. We did it in CREtech. We got up to about 100,000 or so as an audience, the biggest in the world on the real estate technology side. But it took me a long time, Jeff. It took me 10 years, right?
Yeah.
We don't have that much time. So I feel a great sense of urgency on climate.
No, that's a really good sort of brief there. And like, obviously you have this big voice, and it's awesome that you're focusing on like kind of some of these climate initiatives. Like, and it's only been a month. Like, what can we expect in the next couple of months, next like year or so? Like, what else are we going to do to dig in here? I'm interested to learn.
Yeah. So for the first thing we started to do was to understand who the real early adopters were and get them involved, right? Because if it's just me shooting off my big mouth, it might make me feel better, may make my wife and kids think their dad actually does something meaningful for his career, but it's not going to move the needle. So I had to go get the big stakeholders. So I got some big landlords that were early adopters, RXR, Oxford, Lennar, others to help me. I got big consulting companies like EY to get involved. And then I got like the industry associations, the people that are already there doing the hard work. So we put it all together. Now we're like, all right, let's go out and tell the story. Let's go educate. So it's going to be webinars, it's going to be virtual conferences, it's going to be a daily newsletter. It's all free. But, there's so much work to be done, Jeff, because we also don't have all the technology solutions on the scene yet.
Yeah.
So we've really got to encourage the industry to start to invest. So we went and we've got a wonderful relationship with Fifth Wall, the biggest venture capital firm in our sector. And I said to them, listen, we're going to go do this thing. And they just said, we're in. We'll work side by side with you. So Fifth Wall is also a major partner in ours, and they've got a new climate.
Didn't they just
fund.
launch a fund focused specifically on climate tech related to the built world? Yeah, that's super cool.
Yep. It's about a $300 million fund that they're launching. So really, man, we just got to get the word out. We got to drive investment. One of the things that we started doing early was to do a survey to try and gauge how much money the industry is investing in climate technologies. And it's about 100 million over like 10 years, which is nothing to address climate change. So we got a lot of work to do. So I got to attract more venture. I got to attract more corporates. I got to attract more technology providers. So as you can tell, I'm pretty energized about this, but a lot of work ahead.
Love it. Yeah. I mean, so earlier you had mentioned that kind of like the built world contributes to, I think you said 40% of all the emissions. So you listed some big names there like RXR and Oxford. Like, what is it going to take in order for like the rest of the industry, some of these smaller players that might not have like a corporate venture capital arm or something like that to participate, that might not have as big of a footprint? Because I think that's when we really get to an inflection point, is like when the mom and pop get to be involved. Like, how do you see that kind of happening?
What a great question. Oh man. Well, listen, first we got to get more of the big the big real estate companies to embrace it. They're starting to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Jeff, it's happening more in Europe than it is happening in the States. You look over in Europe and citizens are involved, governments are involved, real estate companies are involved, tenants are involved. They're legislating it. They're creating incentives for it. So we're seeing it over there. Yeah. Here domestically, we've got to attract more of the big corporates to be able to do that. They've got to hire. They've got to develop strategies. They've got to understand where the ROI is, where they can adopt as well. And then I think once we get the biggest stakeholders in the industry to adopt, I think the others will follow. But again, we don't have the time that I had with the real estate tech side. We just don't have the time. So we got to get them all.
Totally. And another kind of question I have on that note is, how do we sort of like create these? How do we make it so it's more than just kind of like a financial ROI mindset? Like, what do we have to do to get to that point? Because that sort of seems what it's kind of been in the past, is like, how do we rationalize this spending to like save money on XYZ? But like, how can we get people excited about like something bigger than just like the bottom line? And I guess maybe it's in parallel, but would love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, listen, I love the real estate industry. So this is not a bashing the sector that I love that's been so good to me and have so many friends in. But the real estate industry is not going to embrace these tools unless there's some kind of mandate, right? What does that mean? Okay. First thing is their customers need to demand it, right? So if I'm living in an apartment building, I got to be able to say, I'm only living in apartment buildings that have good air quality, good ventilation, are sustainable, blah, blah. And then I'm a corporate office tenant. I got to insist I'm not going to lease space in a building that does not fit and meet all this criteria, right? If I'm a bank, if I'm a lender, if I'm an insurance company, I'm not going to lend, I'm not going to underwrite unless I see these sort of minimum requirements met. Governments are coming, man. So New York, LA, a lot of other places in the world are starting to say, unless you meet certain, net zero commitments, certain carbon commitments with reduction, we're going to penalize you. So, and then the real estate industry also wants to see the ROI. So there's been some great studies out of MIT and Harvard, your neck of the woods, that said, listen, if you make these investments, you'll command higher rents. You'll be able to trade your properties for higher returns. So there is an ROI there, but it's going to take all of these external influences to really incentivize the industry to move with this great sense of urgency that we're talking about.
Yeah. What you talked about at the beginning there was an interesting take. It's almost like, with millennials being kind of pushing a lot of these climate initiatives, that if you're an apartment building, you could almost deliver top line returns by having a more sustainable building and be able to, in theory, charge more. I don't know if there's any legs there, but that sort of just comes to mind. I don't know if you're seeing anything out there like that.
No, it's a fact, Jeff. MIT has done a study that says, you could charge between, I think it's something like 4.4 to 7.7 more in rent per square foot with a healthy building. Right? Smart connected green buildings are getting premiums on trading. I think the study says something like 25% more value healthy buildings versus non-healthy buildings. So the more we can get that message out there, I'm confident we'll galvanize the industry to take this seriously. But it's all going to be about the dollars they invest, Jeff. So $100 million over 10 years, give or take, it's paltry. It's embarrassing. So that number, what does that number need to be? In the tens of hundreds of billions of dollars, honestly. Yeah. So it's concrete, it's steel, it's air, it's glass, it's everything. The way we construct and the way we operate. It's heat pumps. I could just go on and on and on about where, but we need to get there fast.
Yeah. No, I just like, it's great. It's really super interesting to think about. And, I just like stepping back a little bit at the beginning of the pandemic, you wrote, I think a couple of blog series posts about, like now is the time for kind of like reimagining real estate. And like, I can't believe it's already been a year since that, but I would love to kind of hear what you were thinking then and like how things have happened over the last year and like, what you're thinking now versus then?
Yeah, and real estate as well as anybody. The real estate industry is one of the most successful investment opportunities in the world, right? It's always been in terms of a category. So there are formulas that work. You approach office this way, you approach industrial this way, multifamily this way. There's tried and true methods to real estate development and investing, and they haven't changed literally for generations,
Yeah.
There's been modifications and there's some that are better than others in terms of adopting innovation within the built world, but it really hasn't changed that much. COVID really, for the wrong reason, but it's fact, was an extraordinary accelerant of change and innovation in the real estate sector, because now companies, residents, everybody, we're rethinking and reimagining every aspect of the built world. How do we work? What is flex space? How do we shop? What's the e-commerce impact on retail, logistics, retail? Everything's being rethought and reevaluated post-COVID, which creates just an extraordinary opportunity. Retail being converted to housing or medical, office buildings now not just being a place that's a long-term lease. We'll see in 7 or 10 years. The office sector is thinking of itself as if it's in the hospitality industry, which is phenomenal and it's extraordinarily exciting. So there's not a part of the industry that's not being reevaluated, rethought, and reimagined. So it's pretty exciting. And again, Jeff, technology is the underpinning of it all, because that's what's enabling the industry now to reimagine things.
No, I love that. And so how can like the average person get involved here that's following you that maybe doesn't have, that isn't Oxford and has tons of money that they can dedicate to this? Like how can people kind of help and be involved with what you're doing?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Again, I'm not an investment advisor by any stretch, but there are so many extraordinary tools now available to smaller landlords and investors to help them gain a competitive edge, whether it's property management, whether it's like tenant experiences. They're not looking for, the health club as much as they is a great app to get food delivery. You know what I mean? So it's enabling real estate owners, operators of every size to become more efficient as an operator and more effective in servicing their customers. So there are 10,000 solutions out there for real estate investors to be able to adopt and purchase. There's amazing crowdfunding platforms out there like CrowdStreet. There's amazing buying and selling platforms out there. Like, there's just tons of them. There's By Proxy, there's Crexy, there's 10X. There's so many. So you could get in the game with as little barriers to entry as there's ever been in my career now because of technology. So just, follow us at CREtech.com. You'll see a wealth of information that comes out all the time. We've got all of your great content on there as well. So it's a place to discover and learn and educate it and get connected as well.
Love it. And how can people follow you? I know you mentioned CREtech.com, but how can people follow you before we tune out here?
Yeah, man. On LinkedIn, Michael Beckerman, on CREtech. I post a lot of stuff there. I'm doing a lot of webinars. It's all free. It's all on CREtech. You'll find it all there. Hopefully we make it easy and digestible, and it's all free.
No, you do. Like I actually every Friday I'll scroll through the kind of like the funnel you have of all the news for the last week. That's how I kind of stay up to date.
That's one of our sister sites, the news funnel, which is another free
exactly. Okay.
So, we're just trying to make anybody who's interested in investing, adopting, getting a job, discovering tech, very accessible and easy for everybody. We appreciate all your support in helping get the word out there. And I thank you for having me on and letting me shoot my big mouth off about things that I'm most passionate about.
Thanks so much, Michael. Hope you enjoy your walk after this.
All right, Jeff. Thanks, man. We'll see you down the road.
Thanks, Michael. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the session today with Michael. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to just reach out to help@millionacres.com. Thanks. Bye.